Good morning, everybody. It is May 17th. It's a Sunday morning, and I'm about to start my first garden tour of 2020. Come along with me. Okay, so here is my garden as it is today. Still a lot of work to be done. In Colorado, we're really just getting started with our growing season. I want to start over here in this bed. This is where I have some garlic growing, a couple of different varieties that I ordered from M.I. Gardener. These were planted last fall with the help of my amazing friend Sarah. Next to those, kind of interspersed, are some onions that I ordered from the landscaping company that I'm very close to in my hometown of Beloit, Kansas. Eventually we'll plant some asparagus beans along the bottom of this, and they will grow up nice and tall and look really pretty. This is a arbor that my husband built for me last spring. And we are gonna try to grow some ornamental gourds and hopefully some Kajari melons. Inspiration from the amazing Jess and Maya of Roots and Refuge. This is a little different than how they do it, but it's what we decided to do. Okay, so that's all that we have going on that first bed. So let's turn over here and have a look. These are two sage bushes that actually last year were growing right here, and we dug them up, split them into 4 plants, gave 2 away, replanted them. They had amazing production, more sage than I could ever use. Comment down below if you have suggestions or what you like to do with your sage at the end of season when you have too much. I always say that you can't have too much of any plant, but I think we may have hit it with the sage. Down here we have a little baby thyme that I did start from seed, and this is thyme that's coming back from last season. This is parsley, which is on its 3rd year actually. And you can see it is starting to flower. So I will actually just let that go to flower. It'll reseed itself. We'll cut that back and make some pesto to mix into pasta. Like to keep that in our garden, or not in our garden. We like to keep that in our refrigerator. These are a couple of little basil starts that are really limping along. We had a bird problem at the beginning of the season, and they like to come out and munch on things. We will have some tomatoes growing down the middle of this and a couple of pepper plants across. Here we have some cilantro growing. So we did have some dill growing here, and there's like 1 left. Again, birds. My first year of having trouble with birds. Every year is a new learning experience. And there is a little tiny oregano coming up. This beautiful oregano that wintered over and came back. So we'll be cutting that back today. Another parsley plant that is going to seed. Gorgeous. And these guys right here are summer savory. See these little guys? I did grow these from seed. This is my first year growing those from seed, so we'll see how they do. Okay, so over in this bed is right now just a lot of greens. This is chard that actually overwintered. At the end of the season, I just pretty much cut it all the way down, and we actually used plastic honestly about half of the winter, and then I kind of forgot about it. But it was pretty heavily mulched with straw. It came back really strong. We've already pulled 2 harvests off of this. I'll pull 1 more harvest off of it today. And then we'll just let it go ahead and finish going to seed, and then we will collect some seed. So there's the start of a beautiful chard flower. They are really pretty. Everything else in this bed is actually just a mix of different types of greens. We have some lettuce, really pretty lettuces. There's another lettuce. Did have some bok choy, but we had a little bit of a pest problem that I didn't catch quickly. Again, you know, that's kind of my message to everyone is don't give up on yourself when the insects take over. Do a little bit of research, see what you can do about them, and realize that you can always replant, and there is always next year. We did order some diatomaceous earth, so we will try that when we do our second planting of bok choy, but these little guys they're pretty much past saving, I think, at this point. These guys are doing pretty good. Red Russian kale coming up over there, looking really good. And that's some butter crunch lettuce. This bed will also be planted with more tomatoes. Okay, now here is our large main bed, which you can see right now there's not a whole lot going on. Through this area, I still need to top off with compost. I am basically starting a no-till method this year. Last year was the last year that we tilled our garden beds. And this year I'm committing to not tilling and instead just topping things off. I want to introduce you to our new friend of the garden to help us with our bird problem. We're having a lot of fun coming out and moving him every day because they say that the birds are smart enough to figure out that he's not real. Let's see if I can get him to make his sounds. We also have some volunteer parsley popping up. You know, parsley goes to seed at the end of the season, and it will just, make itself at home wherever it can drop seeds. This is a trellis just made out of garden fencing, and it's pretty tall. I think it's just about 6 feet tall, and we will have tomatoes planted all along that. So stay tuned for next week's tour, which will hopefully see some tomatoes in the ground. We'll see. Again, here we have some more beautiful onions coming up. They're looking great. And this is an interesting thing that's happened in my garden this year. These are all volunteer lettuce. So last year, we had lettuce planted all along here, about to that piece of fencing. So all the way across we had lettuce. And once that lettuce had gone to seed and the lettuce leaves started to get a little bit bitter, a lot of people would just yank them out and plant something else. But what I chose to do is leave 2 or 3 of them in the ground and let them fully go to seed. They make beautiful flowers that attracts pollinators. And then the nice thing is you can collect that seed or do what I did, which is forget to collect the seed and let the garden reseed itself. So this whole patch of lettuce, I did not plant that. Nature did. How cool is that? Again, the pests really enjoyed the bok choy. I do try to kind of plant things all around the garden instead of everything in one place. They say that that helps a lot with pests. If they find, all of your lettuce planted in one area, they're going to get all of your lettuce. So I try to intersperse as much as I can. This year looks like we weren't successful with the bok choy, but that's okay. Always next year. Soon we'll have another row of carrots and radish coming up here. Nothing else happening here until we get over here. And look at that, more onions. I just think they're beautiful. We do have some radish and carrot interspersed planted here. And you can see here that the carrots are just starting to make their debut. Along here, there's a little carrot. There's some more coming up. Dandelions. Remember that weeds are just plants where you don't want them. We did have some beautiful tulips. Tulips are gorgeous. Unfortunately, they only last for a couple of weeks and then they're gone, but we will have more wildflowers coming up in that area. And our lovely little garden mural on the side of the shed. Decided that big beige shed wasn't much fun to look at, especially when you're in Colorado and you're waiting for things to grow. It's nice to have something else to look at while you're anticipating something actually coming up in your garden. Okay, so now we're on the most east side of our backyard property, and I wanted to walk along here and talk about free plants. If you are on a budget and you don't have a lot to get started in your garden, I highly recommend becoming a member of the local gardening groups on Facebook. You will find so many people that are dividing their irises, their daylilies, all kinds of things at the end of the season. These irises and daylilies, so there's iris coming up along the back and along the front, and then right there in the middle, those are daylilies. These all actually came from my brother-in-law's yard. He was getting ready to move and didn't want them to go to waste or be dug up by the new owner, because that does happen. And so he brought us literally a trash bag full of bulbs. And so we planted them in and heavily mulched them, and they're coming along great. They won't likely flower this year. They're just getting established, but hopefully they will next year. Nice little area here with some more irises coming along, and they are looking great. A few daylilies coming up in the middle. We have this nice little path. I actually laid this by hand last fall. It is not professional or perfect, but it's mine and I love it. So the last little thing I wanted to show you is my mint bed. Look at how crazy this is. Mint, I think, is one of the best things for people to grow when they really need that boost of confidence that they can grow something. Mint is really tolerant to just about every type of abuse that you can give to it. So this is about a 4-foot wide area from corner to corner and about 2.5 feet here. And if you will believe it, there are 3 mint plants here. I planted one in that corner. I planted one in that corner. Those were dug up from my friend Erin's backyard. And right there in the middle, we planted a chocolate mint plant that was gifted to me by my mother. That was 3 years ago, and now every season, this continues to come back and grow fully and beautifully. So later today, we will come out here and we will cut all of this back. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed seeing my garden. Next week, I'm actually going to be showing you a new garden space that we've been working on. It's right behind this fence. It's not even on my property. We'll also be showing you our new container garden that we're setting up in the front, but it's not quite ready for me to show you yet. I really hope that you enjoyed seeing where our garden is at in Colorado Springs, Colorado, Sunday, May 17th. Wherever you are, I hope that you find the courage to go out there and start gardening. If you live in a small space, that's okay. Get some containers, start a little patio garden. If you have a big backyard and you're overwhelmed because you don't have the time, the money, the energy to build big 20-foot long beds or buy a $1,000 greenhouse, that's okay too. Start with a 4x4 garden plot. Grow something that you love, grow something that you will enjoy, and grow in your own life. That's all for today. I hope that you will consider subscribing, watching the next video, and comment down below and share the experience of life with me.